So my name is Matt. I am going to be your student speaker today. And first, I just want to thank all of you folks for coming out. Right now, we're actually helping each other out. I don't know if you guys realize this, but I'm going to help you folks by telling you a little bit about my experience. Hopefully I can inform you, make your college decision a little bit easier. And you are providing me with this really awesome public speaking experience. I'm looking at a crowd of, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 people, and it's really exciting. I'm really pumped about this, so I'm just going to dive right in. I'm from Beverly, Massachusetts. It's a small coastal town about 30 minutes north of Boston. I'm a senior biology major. I'm minoring in geography. I'm a senior, so my schedule right now is a little more laid back than it was the past few years. So I'm taking some classes, I'm finishing up my thesis. In the past, I was a resident assistant for about 2 years. I was president of my fraternity, Pi Kappa Phi. I was the election chancellor for the Student Government Association, and I was also campus campaign manager for this organization called Teach for America here on campus. But before I go on, I just want to do a quick interactive thing. So can I get a show of hands how many out-of-state folks we have today? Oh, wow, there's a lot, cool. And how many in-staters? And that's great too. So for the in-state folks, you might already know this, and for the out-of-state folks, I am just going to boast about all the great people who have come out of our great Commonwealth over the years. People like Susan B. Anthony, women's suffragist, John Chapman, better known as Johnny Appleseed, E. Cummings, famous poet, Emily Dickinson, another famous poet. She's actually from right here in Amherst. You can go check out her house. It's right down the road after the show. Ralph Waldo Emerson, Ben Franklin, John Hancock, the guy with the famous autograph, Leonard Nimoy, actor, Theodore Geisel, also known as Dr. Seuss. And last year they had a big exhibit of his art. It was really awesome. It's like the books, except huge paintings and sculptures of all those crazy characters and fish and stuff. Henry David Thoreau, Eli Whitney, inventor of of course, everyone knows that. He's also a big advocate for interchangeable parts, which is pretty cool, right? And we also have 5 American presidents from Massachusetts. So all the Johns, John Adams, John Quincy Adams, John F. Kennedy, Calvin Coolidge, and George H.W. Bush is actually from Milton, Massachusetts. But perhaps no Massachusettian, and I looked it up on Wikipedia, that's our official title, no Massachusettian has been as influential in recent history as Will Hunting, the pride of Boston, Matt Damon. And Good Will Hunting, is my favorite movie. It's just a great film, and Damon plays this Southie, street smart, tough guy. He's a janitor at MIT, and he's also this undiscovered mathematical savant. And my favorite scene in the movie, if you guys remember it, is the one where he's in the bar. Yeah. And Ben Affleck is hitting on the girl, and then this pompous guy comes up, and he's like, making fun of him because he didn't really go to an Ivy League school. And then Matt Damon comes over, and he throws it right back in his face. And then at the end of his remarks, he says, "You know what? You dropped $150 grand on an education you could have got for $1.50 in late charges at the public library." Right? And it's true. And Damon's remark pretty much sums up exactly what I thought about college when I was doing that whole application process. And so Matt Damon and my high school self shared more than just a first name. We shared this outlook on the total absurdity of the college institution. So you might be asking yourself, how did this kid wind up at college? Or better yet, how did he wind up on stage inviting me to come to his college? And my road to UMass really wasn't romantic. And in fact, the truth of the matter is, my dad made me come here. So...
That's the father.
And all you dads should make your kids come here too. So, no, in my senior year, I went up to my dad and I was like, you know what, Dad? I'm not going to college. I'm pretty sure I can just ride the buses and learn more about this world and learn more than I ever could at school. And my dad, in all his infinite wisdom, looked me square in the eyes and he said, "Son," which is what he says when he's mad at me, "that may be true, but buses aren't safe, and I don't care, you're going to UMass." And the problem with being in high school is you're totally incapable of appreciating parental wisdom. So what I did was I cut a deal, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll go to UMass. I'm going to go for a year, and then I'm going to leave school. I'm going to ride the Greyhounds coast to coast. I'm going to write poetry about, the real world and freedom, and I'm going to be the next Jack Kerouac, and I'm going to show you what I can do. But of course, Dad knew what was exactly going to happen. He's a UMass alumni. He knew I was going to come here and I was just going to fall in love with the place. And that's what did happen, and I haven't looked back since. So it took my dad's cunning to get me here, but what was it that made me stay? And I ask myself this all the time because I never forgot Matt Damon's line. And I do firmly believe it's possible to get a great education at a public library. But what I think Will Hunting overlooked is the true soul of UMass. Certainly I come here, every student at UMass comes here for this piece of paper, this diploma that's going to tell your future employees, this guy went to a bunch of classes, passed a bunch of tests, probably paid a little money too, and that's it. Is that all it's good for? No. My education is way deeper than just my academic pursuits. When you come to UMass, you get schooled on life every day. Because UMass, it is the real world. Or at least it's like this super realistic pseudo version of the real world that's full of thousands of 18 to 25-year-olds. But just like the real world, it's full of obstacles and opportunities. For example, this morning, well, I guess it all started last night. Friday night at college, I had two options. Go to bed on time, wake up on time, or go out with all my roommates who were going to the pub. I chose to go to bed. This morning, the alarm goes off at 6:30. Option A, wake up, take a shower, shave, get dressed, figure out how to tie my tie, get out the door on time, get here, everything's great. Option B, which I was really considering, was hit the snooze button, roll over, have the whole morning be in a rush, get here all sweaty and be unprepared, probably leave my speech at home. I've learned in my years here that the snooze button is pretty much my mortal enemy, and I can't be trusted to keep my alarm within arm's reach of my bed. So what I've learned is to put my alarm clock all the way across the room. And so the real way that I wake up is I have my roommate yell at me, have my alarm's been going off for 5 minutes, and then I get up. So I thank UMass for the opportunity to take responsibility for my actions. Another example. I'm in line for lunch at the dining commons. High school Matt would grab 2 slices of pizza, a big plate of chicken fingers with barbecue sauce. I would have gotten this huge bowl of vanilla chocolate soft serve with M&M's, Heath bar, caramel sauce, sprinkles, the works. And the soft serve it's free, so you can get it with every meal 3 times a day if you want. And I remember 3 years ago, I was sitting at a table in the dining commons, and I sat down with my bowl of ice cream, and my friend was at the table, and she was a vegetarian. And so I politely asked her, why would you torture yourself like that? And I'm proud to say that after conducting my research on my thesis in the nutrition department, I actually make healthy life decisions. I actually make smart diet choices. I visit the vegetarian section all the time, and my new favorite dessert is a big bowl of nuts, granola, fresh fruit, and soy milk. And so my sister calls me Crunchy Granola now, which is a nickname that I kind of like. And so I thank UMass for teaching me how to make these healthy life decisions. And then finally, when I got here, I was what you might call a slacker. I didn't own a backpack. I wasn't familiar with the concept of homework. I don't know, it was just totally, I was a different person. I thought a Palm Pilot was like a tiny little guy that worked for American Airlines, and you couldn't really get me to do anything extracurricular unless there was free pizza involved. And I came to this school, and I just saw 25,000 people who were all doing something. And I didn't know exactly what that something was, but I saw them going places, and they were doing stuff. And then I saw this one guy who was just doing more stuff than anyone else. He was president of a fraternity, he was on internship, he was governor in the Student Government Association. Most impressively, he knew the names of all these people in the administration, the people that I had formerly referred to as the adults that wear suits and tell me when I need to fill out paperwork. And I couldn't get over it. And I thought to myself, what is this guy doing? So the first thing I did was join his fraternity so that I could learn from him and emulate him. And then I just followed his lead. I saw from my mentor that the more you applied yourself, the more you succeeded. And the more you succeeded, the more you sought out these opportunities. And seeking out these opportunities, I just began to realize how easy it was. I mean, I'd never applied for a scholarship before. I'd never kept a calendar. I never wrote a paper 2 weeks in advance because I knew I had another test the same week it was due so that I wasn't going to have a crazy week. I'd never gone to a lecture just because I thought it sounded interesting. And I'm proud to say that today, all of these things make me who I am. So now I try and act as a role model for younger people, especially the younger guys in my fraternity. Yesterday afternoon, I took the GRE so that hopefully I'll be able to enroll in the epidemiology program here and continue my amazing experience as a graduate student. So I don't think you can get the UMass experience at the public library. I think that Will Hunting's cynical summary of what college is really doesn't account for these role models. Because the public library doesn't have peer mentors, and it doesn't have inspirational teachers. Yet it might have really great librarians, but the public library doesn't have a vegetarian option. And the public library doesn't have 100 study abroad programs in countries all over the world. And the public library doesn't have intramural softball. And certainly the public library, it doesn't have 25,000 unique individuals all trying to carve their futures together. The fact that so much change is about to take place in all of your lives might be pretty scary. And I think that's the biggest thing in Will Hunting's life. He was just terrified because he had to leave home. He had to leave this place he's always known. And his girlfriend in the movie was saying, you know, you're so brilliant, you need to apply yourself, you need to go to California, you need to do this. But he was just scared because he couldn't deal with change. He was from this small place with these people he knew, everything was comfortable, and he didn't want to go somewhere else. But what can help is to realize that you're not in this alone. That there's 25,000 other people here who are here doing the exact same thing. And when you come to school, you share a biological connection with every one of them. Because at UMass, we all bleed maroon. So I want to thank you for coming out to Amherst today, and I want to encourage you to think a little bit more seriously about your college selection process than I did. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next famous Massachusettian. Thank you.
How many college seniors have the opportunity to speak in front of 1,000 or more people, nor do they have the opportunity to do it so well in front of their parents? That terrible man who made him go to college is with us in the audience, so I think Matt deserves another one. We're going to move on to the next portion of our